What did we say up to now? Oh, first of all, good morning, everyone. We are now continuing and hopefully finishing today the speech that we began yesterday of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, which is found in the third book of Likiti Sichot, which there is like 40 books, I think now, 41 book. And we talked about what exactly is the reason that this Torah portion is called 8. Why did the rabbis call this 8? Shmini, Parshat Shmini. Says, well, because it was the 8th day of the inauguration. Says, but there's no such thing as 8th day of the inauguration. There's only 7 days of inauguration. This is the day after. The 7 days of inauguration, that was preparation for the opening of the tabernacle, that it could really start to open for the public to make sacrifices. And there were only 7 days, and those 7 days already were. That was explained in the end of last week's Torah portion. And today is the day after those 7, but it's not part of the inauguration days, right? Bayom Shmini, it's not part of the inauguration days. It's got basically nothing to do with it. They were just a preparation for that. So it's almost like, let's say, a person is born, right? So his birthday is as soon as he's born, that's called the 10th month. So he's 9 months in his mother's womb, and now he's starting that 10. So as soon as you're born, you're already 10 months old. That's not so. The same thing is here. Why is it that it's called number 8? Number 8 because it was 7 days before it. That was just preparation for this. So the Rebbe brings a person, one of the commentaries of the Torah called the Kli Yakar. Kli Yakar was Rabbi Shlomo Lunchitz. I think he lived like about 150 years ago. So a beautiful genius commentary on the Torah. And he says that the reason is because the number 8 is above nature. And because it's above nature, is therefore, it has nothing to do with the previous days, and therefore it's called the 8th day. Says the Rebbe, well, that just makes the question even worse. If it's above nature, it has nothing to do with the previous days, then why remind us that it does? Why remind us it's only number 8? Say that it's in there. Then on the first day of the inauguration or something, right, it's a new period. So the Rebbe says no, because it's true. It has nothing, he's right. The Kli Yakar is right. The 8th day has nothing to do with the previous days, but it's brought about by the previous days. And I gave you the example last time. It's like pushing a button and starting a whole factory working. Right? What did you do? You just pushed the button. You didn't do it. What you did? Nothing. Right? You put the key in the car and you turn the thing. That has nothing to do with combustion and with electricity and all the workings of the motor and the brakes and the wheels and the nothing whatsoever to do with that. You just took a key and you turned it. You can do like this all day, right? Turn it. What do you have to buy a car for? Just buy a key. You go like this, right? And that'll right. That's ridiculous. The key has nothing to do with all the mechanisms of the car, how the car works. So what do you have to have a key? Because the key starts it off. The same thing is and the work that they did preparing the tabernacle, even though that was wonderful, but the revelation of God that was brought by means of what they did had nothing to do. It was totally incommensurate with the work that they had done before. Nice big word, incommensurate. Work that they did before. And so, what's the Rebbe want to get at it over here? The Jewish people are number 8, right? The number 8. So the Jewish people have to do 2 things. Why are they the number 8? First is the circumcision is number 8. That's when God began the Jewish people with Abraham. Was he made this covenant with him? Was on this 8th day. So the Jewish people, what they accomplished above nature, and they're above nature, but they have to be in nature, and they have to work in nature. And that generally is the whole idea of Torah and the commandments. We do with the Torah, we do the commandments, and what we're doing is almost it's totally incomparable to the revelation that it really draws down. Now it only draws it in the spiritual world, but it's still tremendous, but we have to do it. That's the whole thing of the Jewish people. We're human beings in bodies like everybody else, but what we do is totally incomparable to what anyone else does in the world. Even if you want to say that you make big atomic plants and you bring wonderful things and you bring world peace and you whatever it is, nothing to do with what the Jewish people accomplish when they do one commandment. And especially this is relevant to the idea of the Moshiach. The Moshiach is going to be the number 8, and the revelation of godliness that he's going to bring in the world is nothing to do with what everybody else. Everybody else, they do whatever they do. The religions promise them they're going to go to heaven. Heaven is only part of the creation. That's only part of the number 7. With heaven, Mashiach is going to reveal the number 8. Okay, so let's go. We've got another example. Alpia now, according to this, can men oich mavor. We can also explain the shaychus, the connection between Parsha Shmini, between this week's Torah portion, and the counting of the Omer. 1 second, here we go. And the shaychus of Parsha Shmini with the counting the Omer was Bahar Bashan, which many years length men Parsha this Parsha of Shmini immediately after Passover, which that's of course not the case this year. We're reading it 2 weeks before Passover. Hatchalas Yomei Sfira, the beginning of Sfirat HaOmer. Okay, what is Sfirat HaOmer? Sfirat HaOmer means counting the bundle. Counting the bundle. What does that mean? So Sfirat HaOmer, this is of course, it's a commandment. And it's a commandment that lasts 49 days. And in the time of the Holy Temple, they would bring, right the day after Passover, they would bring a bundle of barley. They would go into the field, they would cut barley, and they would bring a bundle of this barley into the Holy Temple. There was a whole process that they did with this. So the Omer is talking about the bundle of barley that they brought to the Holy Temple. And then they would count Sfirat. They would count the days from that, then 49 days. And when the Jews got out of Egypt, it was the same thing. They didn't sacrifice the barley. They didn't have a tabernacle yet, but they did count. And it happens to be that that's the days between going the holiday of Passover when we left Egypt to receiving the Torah are 49. On the 50th day after leaving Egypt, they received the Torah. So we count the 49 days up to that 50th day. Oh, so Sfirat HaOmer are 49 days. And after the 49 days they counted, they got the Torah. Now when they got the Torah, God's essence revealed himself to the world, right? We've said this so many times, there's no religion that even makes up such a story. It's incomparable. That God himself personally appeared to 3 million people. And the whole world shook, and God spoke from every atom. And he told the Jews what he wants in the Torah, the essence of God. Now, this is a really ridiculous story. I mean, God himself appeared to everybody, all the people. But Jews have been believing this since it happened 3,300 and, 3,336 years ago, I think, something like that. Look and see. They've been believing this. So the giving of the Torah is something that's just totally, I mean, it's not even in the realm of science fiction. And all the Jews say it really happened. Here we are. You got people it really happened, right? My father told me it happened, and his father told him it happens. This has been passed down for 3,000 years. We believe in this story. And what have we gotten because we believed the story? We're Jews. We got killed and murdered and driven out from this country to another country. Even to this day, people hate Jews. Jews that don't even know what it means to be a Jew, but they know that they're Jews. And what does it mean to be a Jew? That they received the Torah. They were there when the Torah was given. They were there. Their souls were there when the Torah was given. So that's how do we get the Torah? How do we get this amazing event? We counted the Omer. Okay, so what's one got to do with the other? We'll see. This is the whole thing of Sfirat Omer, counting the Omer state that says the language in the Torah, it says you should count 50 days. Fragment, we can ask a question. The Kasha, we can ask a question. Mensel doch nor 9 and 40 tag. We don't count 50 days. It says clearly in the Torah you have to count 50 days, and we don't do it. In fact, you're not even supposed to do it. Why does it say to do it? We count only 49 days. And the Torah says you have to count 50. So the question is, do we do what it says in the Torah, or why don't we do what it says in the Torah? the answers the question mitten be with an explanation. As Yidden, the Jewish people, by means of counting the Omer, by means of making a blessing every day, right? They make it after the evening prayer. As soon as the evening prayer, as soon as night falls, you're supposed to make the blessing. You make the Asher Kiddushan of Mitzvot, and you commanded us to count the Omer. That today is 1 day, today is 2 days, today is 3 days. Durach Zayin Abuda, by means of the service of the Jewish people, Zayin Mamshech, they draw down. They can only draw down 49 days. They can draw down what's called the 49 gates of understanding. Shiva Shavuot, 70 weeks. That's why it's called Shavuot. The holiday of Shavuot means weeks. 7 weeks. It says in another place, 7 weeks you should count. Bechinas Shivas Yamei Abinyan. So in the Torah it says you should count 7 weeks. Another place it says you should count 50 days. So 7 weeks is 49. 50 days is 50. So what are we supposed to do? Well, it says, you'll see. You do the 49. You count the 49 days. But when the Jews draw down through their work the 49 gates of awareness of God, it says 49 gates, each one above the other, to purify another one of your aspects of your soul. It's we'll talk about this perhaps next week. But by means of our doing our work of counting these 49 days, which opens up 49 gates of awareness of God, as Gittin and Zeh Milamayla, then we get a free gift from above, Oichtem Shara Chamishim, the 50th day. Was is Derech Shemin, it's like the number 8, which is totally incomparable to the 50, to the 49. Was the Rebbe, which therefore is the Amshacha from them, Shara Chamishim, therefore the drawing down of this, what's called the 50th gate, that's in the holiday of Shavuot, when we get the Torah. Was B'shas Matan Torah, when the time when the Jews received the Torah, it was something like the Gila, the revelation that's going to be in the future. What do you mean something like? Because it was only in one place. In the future, that revelation is going to be everywhere. What was the revelation of the essence of God connected to the Torah, which the Torah is exactly the will of God, why God created the world, what we're supposed to do with the world, according to God. And God himself revealed himself. He didn't just give the book to Moses, and which that would have also worked, where the Jewish people would be, all the other religions in the world are based on one person, two people. Could be the same thing with Moses. Went up on the mountain, people saw the mountain was shaking. Everybody was all afraid. They knew that God took them out of Egypt, split the sea, and Moses came down with the tablets, and that's all. No, God spoke personally to all the Jewish people and told them the 10 Commandments. According to the Judaism, they heard the first 2 of the 10 Commandments, but that contains all the others. If they would have just heard one letter, there would have been enough. It says the souls jumped out of their bodies. And therefore state, it says, Tispru Chamish, therefore it says count 50 days. Why 50 days? Vile, because also that Shara Chamishim, the 50th gate, which is totally incomparable to the others, the Jews get by means of their service. Right? So it's like we said, like taking a key and putting it in the car. The 49 days that we count, that's like the key. It's like knowing the code, right? You press the code, 5, 7, 8, 3, 3, 5, 5. You count it, all of a sudden the car starts, right? The car starts up. The car is it's a jet plane. No, what did you pressed a couple of numbers, 49, and all of a sudden the thing, it's got no connection one to the other, does it? You're pressing a few numbers. It says, but God said that if we count 49 days, that he'll reveal the 50th. Okay, like we said before, this is faith. We don't see, at least I don't see a revelation of the 49, and I don't see any big revelation of the 50th. And if we did see it, probably wouldn't know. And the Rebbe says in the Tanya that actually we do see it. We do see these revelations. We have no idea what it is. We don't know we don't have vessels to appreciate this. And what we do see is just a little tiny bit, a little feeling of it. But nevertheless, we have to believe that that's what it is, and that's what's happening. And even more, that's what Judaism is. That's what Judaism is. And the same thing is, you can't see your soul that you're alive. And even more, you can't see that you're Jewish. It's really quite an amazing thing. In Israel, there's people that are really violently, absurdly opposed to Judaism. They're opposed to Judaism, right? There's there's a lot of them. They run the government, basically. They run the government. They run all the academics. It's big lefty, Ashkenazic Jews. They're against Judaism. They're against the religious people. They're against the Torah. But if you tell them you're not a good Jew, they'll say, "Who are you to tell me I'm not a Jew?" They are very jealous and very, how do you say, precious to them that they're a Jew. Huh? Maybe they won't say it out loud. Maybe they won't say it. But the fact of the matter is that for some reason it's very, very important to them. That's like touching a soft spot. A Jew. Why? Why do they care that they're Jews? Right? It says that was the revelation of Mount Sinai. It's something we don't understand, we can't feel, but that's the essence. And that's what happens every time you do a commandment. Every time you do a commandment is revealing from this point of godliness where every Jew is connected to God, which is totally incomprehensible, and this reveals it a little bit more. That's what's called a blessing in the world. So the Rebbe says what we do in the world draws down little tiny blessings, but in the end, right? In the end, like they count 49 days. Every day is a blessing. But the 50th day is totally incomparable to all the 49 together. But is really in Sfiras Omer, when you count the 49 days of the Omer, this is a preparation not only for giving of the Torah, which that's something like the revelation of the future, but it's also a preparation for the future revelation when Moshiach comes. The main thing of Moshiach is that the world is going to be filled with the awareness of God. People will feel they're being created by God. So as you do, it's known, their diuk alashon from the pasuk is just like the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. It's a prophecy from Micha. Prophecy. Like the days that you left Egypt, I will show you miracles. L'cheora, at first glance, this is talking about the future the redemption by Moshiach. At first glance, is there a roiskian from Mitzrayim going out of Egypt given on one day. What does it say? Like the days of your going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. There was not days of going out of Egypt. There was one day, the 15th day of Nisan. On that day, they left Egypt. The other days, they were going to Israel. Oh, say that. Say it. And like the days of your going to Israel, I will show you miracles. Oh, that would be good. That would be good. But the prophet Micha did not make a mistake. He said the days of your going out of Egypt. Okay, the days of going out of Egypt were one day. They left Egypt. That's it. They were out. Right? They left Egypt. Is Mavura to explain the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe explains. Where does he explain it? In Amayim. Let's see what this is. What's this number over here? 18. Here we go. What is it? Doesn't have the number. 1 second. Hey, what happened? Oh, here it is. Here it is. That he wrote in 1958, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. So it says, he explains, as the fullständige, you'd see it, the total going out of Egypt, Vet Nishlam will only be urged by the Geula Atida in the future redemption, B'Korov Mamash. In other words, we've been going out of Egypt every day for 3,300 and, what did I say before, 38 years, 36 years, I think. 30, well, how did it go? Let's see, this year, this is, this.
I think 35.
1 second. We got out of 244, we got out on 2448. And this is the 4, so we got 6, I think 6 years, right? Not, I think 3,336 years. We can count it out. Anyway, more than 3,000 years ago, we've been, 3,300 years, we have been doing, going out of Egypt. And we haven't really gone out yet. We're only going to truly go out of Egypt in the future redemption with Moshiach. Und bis done, until then, Zainadach Allah Altsfaran Mitzrayim, everything is, we are living in Egypt and limitations from Velcha, from which Muz Zich Bafrian, we have to free ourselves. We have to free ourselves from the prison of our own mind and our own feelings and our own limitations, our own egotism. From Tesvav Nisan, from the 15th day of Nisan in the year 2000, 2,448. That's right. Yeah, that's what I said. 2,448. So that's 408. Now the best. So it comes out. 4. Yeah, I think that's right. 3,336 years. Anyway, you count it ago. Halten Eden Kasidron Kaseder in Aroiskian Jewish people for 3,300 whatever years. Every day, multiply that by 365, and you got how many days we are going out of Egypt. So all those days, basically, we're counting the Omer, so to speak, metaphorically. Was weiter gehen men als Hecher, because we're going higher and higher going out of Egypt, even though it doesn't seem that it's getting higher and higher, but the Rebbe says that it is, so we have to believe it. Be as until as Bekorov Mamash, quickly, soon, Vet Kumen, the Geula, that will come, the total redemption was done, which then Vet men Aroiskian and Gansen from Mitzrayim, then we'll go totally out of Egypt. So what's the Rebbe saying? Going out of Egypt was not a political thing, and it was not a social thing. I mean, of course, it was that, but that's only the very external. That's for the politicians and for the sociologists or whatever. The first thing that the Jews did when they left Egypt, immediately when they left Egypt, when they got out of Egypt, going out of Egypt for the land of Egypt, was counting the Omer. They counted the Omer. That was the first thing. Das heißt, means as counting. 1 second. Let's get this over. 1 minute. Make this. It was counting the Omer. This means that the counting of the Omer is the first step in serving God to coming closer to the future redemption. Like Micha said, that the big miracle that's going to be like going out of Egypt. What does it mean, like going out of Egypt? It's going to be infinitely greater. But one of the things it implies that we have to work. Just like they worked 49 days in order to get the 50th day of receiving the Torah, which was something like the revelation of the future, but only in one place. And so we're counting 3,000 years of every day of service, but we're going to get a revelation that's going to encompass the whole entire world. So their Geula Tida in the future redemption, which is the level of Shmini. That's what we said. That's the whole point. The level of Shmini, it's above nature, but we have to work in nature in order to get it. According to this, Vetman Verstehen, we can also understand the reason why in Sfirat Omer we count 49 men by Tug. 1 minute. What happened over? Oh, I went to 1 second. Oh, here it is. Kids, we all understand that was Sfiras to Omer, we count, all right, ready? Men by Nacht, in the nighttime. And the Tug in the daytime goes after the night. That's how it was in the creation of the world also. God created the night first as Erev Aboker, it was nighttime, and then there was daytime. The Hakrava from the Omer, the bringing of this Omer, of this bundle of barley, was a sacrifice in the base of Mikdash. And by the sacrifices, the law is that the nighttime always goes after the day. All the work in the Holy Temple was only in the daytime, not like the creation of the world. In the creation of the world, God started in the night, Vaye'erev Vaye'boker, the creation of the world. Therefore, in Judaism, a date of the year, the date of the month, of the week, the date starts in the nighttime. Right? Shabbos begins in the nighttime. As soon as the sun sets at nighttime. He said in the Holy Temple, it was the other way around. All the service started in the daytime. The day, if a thing can be eaten for, let's say, 2 days, you start off when it's sacrificed in the daytime. That's when it starts. But not so Sfirat Omer. Sfirat Omer is done in the nighttime. Why? The Nach, usually in the Holy Temple, the night goes after the day. But by Sfirat Omer is Afal Pi, even though as in Yana, that the whole thing is counting how many days there are from going out of Egypt, and from the Hakravas Omer, from sacrificing the Omer, which was in the daytime. But nevertheless, when we start to count, we start counting from the nighttime. Is doch nicht verstandig, it's not understood. Vibalt the spheres Omer, because the counting of the Omer, we count the days from the sacrificing, and the bringing of the Omer was in the daytime, and we're counting the days. So why do we start counting only in the nighttime? Why don't we start counting from the moment they bring the sacrifice in the daytime? Is there beer? The explanation is like this: the oiftu, the accomplishment, the result from the geula, the whole novelty of the future redemption of going out of Egypt, and even out of the giving of the Torah, is as they by Yetzias Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt, and even by going out of the Torah, is the revelation from above, was not by means of the service of the Jewish people. Varum Chaj Zehavan, even though they did count 49 days, as Ober B'Meshech Azoy Kurzer Zeit, but in such a small amount of time, it's not relevant at all that they should go out through their service through the 49 gates of impurity in which they were sunk in Egypt. Or if Azoy feel Nizachach be so purified, Veren Suverin Roy, to be fit to receive the Torah. The Jewish people, when they were in Egypt, it says Egypt was the most licentious and decadent country in the world. They were the most crooked and terrible country in the world. They did all the terrible things that these woke people want to do. That was like in the streets. And everyone was doing all that. There was no morals, there was no values, except to have a good time. Have a good time. And the Jews, they were the servants of the Egyptians. So even let's say that they didn't do all the sins that the Egyptians did, but they breathed the air. They were part of that whole atmosphere. In order to refine them, to purify them from this whole attitude that they had, this whole ambience of Egypt, is it took 49 days to purify it. That wasn't enough time, 49 days. As therefore, true, they received the revelations. That's what the basis of Judaism. God did miracles. God took them out. God split the sea. God gave them the Torah. But what they did was more in comparison. The result that they got was absolutely no comparison to the 49 days that they worked. The Rebbe, so therefore, says, but Moshiach Yovel, the revelation of God was only, it says, when the horns, the horn of God sounded on Mount Sinai. Noch Matan Torah, after when the horn sounded, then it stopped. Is the Welt verblieben, the world remained like it was before. Bis as es hat danach gekommen, the Cheda Egel. So the world didn't really change. It changed temporarily. They got this temporary revelation, but it didn't. The world still remained the same thing. The shorish, the source of all of the sins, nevertheless, the world was still very, very ripe for the sin of the golden calf. Why? Because the Jewish people simply didn't do enough work and preparation. They couldn't. They only had 49 days. So therefore, which is not, that was in the when the Jews left Egypt. When the Jews left Egypt, God wanted to give the Torah, but in fact, they weren't really ready for that revelation. So the revelation lasted a very short amount of time. And it was only in one place. And afterwards, they reverted back to idolatry. Moshiach, which is not case in the future redemption. I'll answer the question. We'll try to finish soon. After Vibald, Zevet, Doch Kuman, Dorach, because the future redemption, we've been going out of Egypt every day for 3,300 plus years, was had sich eingehoben, which began from when the day that they left Egypt, to Mazachach, to refine, Zayin, Nitblois, not only themselves, but also every Jew, their portion in the world. Right? Jews have been making blessings and they've been learning Torah everywhere in the world. And they've been suffering also in the Welt, durch them, the world, because of this work that the Jewish people have done and the suffering that the Jewish people have had and the faith and the prayers, the world will be a vessel to receive the revelation which is above, not just in a temporary way, but in an inner way. Everybody will want this revelation of God. The world will want a different world. When the Jews left Egypt, so they were okay. They figured they got, okay, now I'm going to give you the Torah. God said, okay, you want to give the Torah, give. The main thing, we're out of Egypt and we have bread from heaven and we're surrounded by, you want to give the Torah, give the Torah. We don't, right? Big revelations of God, nice revelations of God. They weren't, it wasn't a thing they were longing for. Nowadays, in our time, there were so many Jews that have longed for Moshiach through these 3,000 years, and especially the last 2,000 years since the temple was, and so many fake Mashiachs have come, and so many disappointments, and the crusades and inquisitions and pogroms and murders that the Jews have suffered, and they still held on to their Judaism. They still held on to their faith. So that prepares the world in an inner way for a true revelation. People really want it. Like it says, Nigla Kavod Avaya, there will be revealed the glory of God, and all flesh will see. As oichdem basar, even the physical flesh will feel the glory of God. Urchachin, because this service of our service is not any vessel to this revelation, never, even though it's not in, because we said it's going to be incomparable. The revelation of God is going to be incomparable to any work we do. But nevertheless, here we've been working for 3,000 years. It's not the same thing as working for 49 days. From deswegen, these is like we said before, vet men la'achar shlemos avoda, after the service of, we've been serving God for these 3,000 years, given the Giluim from above, there'll be revelations from above, also in a way from Esarusa de La'ela Mitzaratzmo. There'll be a revelation from God from above anything we could imagine. When given them an opinion, and it'll be in an inner way. So in other words, by means of the 3,000 years of service and faith and suffering that the Jews have done in prayers of the Gentiles, we'll get a tremendous revelation of God. And then after that, God will even give a bigger revelation, like it was on Mount Sinai. But then the world will be prepared. The world will be ready. Kumtoi, so it comes out as the Geluim, that the revelations from that's one of the reasons why it says Mashiach will bring all the Jews back to Torah and the commandments. To bring all the Jews back to the Torah and commandments, and then he'll build the temple. And the temple, the Jews say, well, the temple, now we can really do all the commandments, and that'll draw them to the land of Israel. And that's what's going to purify the world. The world will see. Listen, a little bit something like this was in the 6-Day War. In the 6-Day War, all of the world saw, they were all shaken to their bones. They saw that God is real and that the God of Israel cares about the Jews, and everyone saw that it was a big miracle, amazing miracle that was done. Everyone saw, and it shook up the whole entire world. Like we said before, the ones that wrecked it was the Israeli government, and they said it wasn't miracles, there was another way, it was an accident, we'll give everything back. But the fact of the matter is something like that is enough to shake up the whole world. If the Jewish people would have just been, together, and they're coming together now by this whole Hamas thing, the Jews are waking up all over the world. They're realizing that how evil the world is, how evil the United Nations is. They're realizing these people love evil. There's no explanation. And the Jews starting to realize the reason that they hate us, so they love evil. So why hate the Jews? Why hate the Jews? Hate, Chopin or music or something like that. Hate good things. Why do you hate the Jew? What the Jews got to do with it? So the Jews have something that's eternally good, eternally alive and pure. The Jews have it, whether they know it or not, whether they're against it or not, they do. And that's what and suddenly this is waking these people up. It's unexplainable. Huh? So we see that the world is, the Jews are starting to wake up. That's going to be the vessel for the receiving of the Geula. Now when there's the miracles like the 6-Day War, the Israeli government is not going to say, listen, it's not we didn't do it, it wasn't God, it was our airport, our pilots, we got the best pilots. Ooh, we got pilots, nothing like our pilots. That's God. Our pilots, that's God. There won't be such a thing like that anymore. Kumtoisa comes out that the revelation from this future redemption, there are two things. What's going to be is, first of all, revealed a light of godliness, which is totally higher than anything in the world, even the spiritual worlds. And even with the highest service of God, we can never, ever reach that. But on the other hand, doch vet der gile, but the revelation will be in the world, and people will want it, and people will appreciate it. Vibal, because of the counting of the Omer, is the first service that the Jews did to prepare for the future redemption. So therefore we know that from the reward, we can know what the essence of a thing is. Right? If a rich person comes and says, if you shine my shoes up, I'll give you $1 million. So what in the world would you do that for? It must be really important to him that I shine his shoes. Right? This must be really important. If he just wanted to give me the money, he would give it to me. It must be really important. Why is it so important I should shine his shoes? Because he's going to a big business meeting and the person who has the shiniest shoes makes a good impression on some king or some, who knows what. The same thing from our doing commandments, it's going to be the revelation of the future of this. So from that revelation, this amazing reward that we're going to get in this world, we know how precious our work is now. From dem was der schar, from the reward, from schar, far dem avoda, the schar before the work that we're doing is it's like a gift. Is the geula tida, the reward for what we're doing is not going to heaven. Heaven, that's peanuts, right? We're going to get the future redemption, the revelation of God in the whole world is a right. This is a proof as oich and der avoda, that in that service itself there are both of these two opposites: the highest of the high revealed and the lowest of the low. Number one, the inyan from Spirit Omer, just like that thing of spirit, counting the Spirit the Omer, is to Thailand, we count the days of the sacrificing from the sacrificing, from the bringing of this bundle onward. She is a kadshim hemshech. It's a continuation of holy things, one after the other. But nevertheless, is the sphere aligned, the counting that we do, counting the Omer. This is a service with his machshir, the belt that prepares the world for a new revelation. Davka kafi seder abriya, according to the physical world. So Sfirat the Omer was done in the Holy Temple. But when they counted it, it was counted in the world. You're just counting days, 24-hour day periods. You're counting each one. That means a revelation of the highest things, holiness, but in the world. Bereishach HaShecha, in the beginning, that's why in the beginning there was dark. And after that, there's light. Der Tag geht nach the Nacht. And that's what it means. The day comes after the nighttime of exile that we're all in, and we're counting the Omer in the world, as that reveals the godliness in the world, so that eventually it says that therefore this is different than all the other sacrifices. True, the sacrifice was done in the daytime, but the purpose of Sfirat Omer is to make the nighttime bright. So therefore we begin in the nighttime, counting in the nighttime in the world. The explanation is by Kachim, in the date, by holy things. It says in the Holy Temple, the nighttime goes after the day. Day is first. Farkert, exactly the opposite from the creation of the world. God created the world, like we said before, is first of all is nighttime and then it's daytime. Vayi Erev, Vayi Boker. The world is nighttime first, while the Seder Avodah, the Seder in creation, is from below to above, nighttime to day. As Haiptzich of Choshech, we elevate the darkness, and through our service, as we can refine the world, and that the world should be a vessel to godliness. And we should feel the Creator in the creation. But that's in the world. But by Kachim, in the Holy Temple, it's the opposite. It's from above to below. In the Holy Temple, we start off with daytime. We begin with light. On oich den laila, and also the nighttime. When oich in the nighttime was kumt, which comes after the day, is es avoda. This is the avodas birurim. This has nothing to do with the Holy Temple. Was kumt mitzadem gilui, or only as much light as we reveal in the world in the daytime by the Holy Temple. That's how much we fix up the world. The gilui from Yom, the day revelation. This just gives us a power that we can erupt lazan in Choshech, that we can go into the darkness and refine it. But Sfirat the Omer, that's regular, normal sacrifices, is dealing with holy things, and we draw holiness into the world from above to below. Commandments, we're doing a commandment of God, and we drew it into the physical world, which is not a commandment. The physical world is just a creation. But counting the Omer is different. Counting the Omer, which is the services, we're working from below to above. We're going out of Egypt from below to above as mezach, to refine the world and making the world a vessel for the future redemption. And that future redemption was supposed to have come way before, but it's supposed to come any instant. What's going to come in the future redemption? Simply the whole world is going to realize the truth that we're being created, and we're being created for a purpose. Is first of all, there's to be darkness, and afterwards there's light. First of all, there's darkness, and then afterwards there's light. That's the way the world was created, and there was being in the world, but refining the world. Let's see, here we go. Oh. Man, edel to ois, we refine the darkness of the world in a way from below to above. So what's the Rebbe saying? We're doing commandments. We're doing what God wants. You see any revelations? You see any halos around people's heads? They do the Torah, they do the commandments? No, because that's the job of the commandments that we're doing now. Is like Sfirat Omer. We're in the darkness, and we're refining the darkness. This, like I said, takes faith, but that's Judaism, right? Like I said before, you ask these non-religious Jews, you say, you're not a good Jew. I am a Jew. So we feel that we're Jews. It's important to be a Jew. And it's tremendously important. Sometimes it's even more important than anything else. Jews, non-religious Jews, are willing to give their lives for their Judaism. I told you the story about what's it, Menashe in Hebron, that he gave his life because because he said he screamed out that he's a Jew. Remember I told you the story? Maybe I'll tell you the story today. Anyway, a totally non-religious Jew, anti-religious Jew, and the Arab said, "Are you Jewish?" And his friend said, "No, he's not Jewish. You can leave him alone." This is when in the massacre of 1929, they said, "You can leave him alone." He said, "No, I am. I'm a Jew," and they killed him. Right? It was totally not, because it's so important to a Jew that he's a Jew. Tremendously important to the Jew. And says the Rebbe, what is a Jew? A Jew is one that is assigned to refine the world in order that the revelation of God can be revealed in the world with Moshiach. From below to above. Abudach is the sphere of the Omer. This is, but we have to remember that the counting that we do of the Omer, this is preceded, and it's a result of the sacrifice that they made in the Holy Temple. That's what this means, as in their avoda, that the service of counting the Omer, which we said is counting from the darkness, illuminating the darkness, is that their koach, it has the power of holiness. It's a commandment. So God gave us the Torah, He gave us the commandments, and we're in the physical world, and we do it, but all the work that we do in the physical world is just like turning the key. The revelation that's going to be is incomparably greater, but on the other hand, it's going to be one that we can accept. We start off with a big revelation from above, Vosvet Nimshach, which will be drawn down by means of counting, like it says, sound counting the Omer, and we've been counting the Omer, like we said, the Rebbe said before, 3,300 whatever years, but it'll be drawn in a panemius, in an inside way, in an intimate, personal way, that's something that we'll really want, we'll feel that's really me, that's the real me. It won't be like religion. In Welt, in the Geula Mitzvah Teshlema, and the true redemption by means of the Moshiach Tzikenu, B'Korov Mamash, quickly now. That's one of the reasons why, by the way, the 7 Noahide commandments, which are the replacement for all of the religions in the world, first of all, they're much more fulfilling than all the religions in the world. And number 2, it's not religion. Religion is something that it's additional to you. I am a religious person. The 7 Noahide commandments is the ideal way it's going to be, that everyone will just recognize the Creator in everything they do. So of course there's aspects of the Creator, there'll be prayer, and you bring, but it's not a religion. It's not a organized religion. The Maimonides even says that it's forbidden for the non-Jews to make up their own religions. All the religions in the world are very nice, good. You know, it serves its purpose. It keeps a person in line, that he knows something above him, etc. But the fact of the matter is it's totally unnecessary. Because that's what the Rebbe says. We're working for, the Jewish people are working for that the whole world should be filled with the awareness of the Creator. And that awareness is going to come as a tremendous blessing from above, but it depends on our work that we're doing now. Just like counting the Omer brought about the giving of the Torah. Even though, what did? They just counted days, all of a sudden the essence of God revealed himself. But then it was only 49 days, and now we've been doing the same thing, the Jewish people, for over 3,000 years, and the world is ready, willing, and able to receive Moshiach now. Now they're going to do the Yom Yom. Here we go. It doesn't work. Okay. Recording. All right. Here we go.